oh man, you guys are giving me some complex questions in the comments and in the emails that you're sending me. Love it. Keep it going. Today, I think I responded to about 70 of them. So keep them coming. I'm still keeping up with you. But a fellow, I'll call him Josh, sent me a pretty complex um, question that at first I kind of blew it off, to be honest with you, and said, hey, I'll just give them a short answer or say, hey, that's too private of information. And but then I thought about it and I said, there could be a good lesson in here for folks. So I'm using my whiteboard again, so let's take a look at it. um, Josh's question was simple, and he must be an engineer, and I can make fun of engineers because, as you know, I am an engineer. But he just said, hey, I need to know how much is in each bucket, how much money you have come in monthly from dividends, how often you rebalance, how are you doing against your budget, when are you changing investments? I mean, it's just like, I want to know every single move you've made. And I want to look at that 10 years before retirement, 5 years before retirement, 1 year of retirement, and then, years in retirement. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. I don't tackle all that here, but you will get the gist of what I'm doing from this whiteboard. And I'd love your opinion. Folks, I do an enormous amount of studying on this. And I have people, I've got an investment group, and this may not be perfect. So if you got some ideas to make this better, okay, great. Send them on to me. I can improve. But this matches my risk profile, but it might not match yours. This is my plan. Okay, this is Joe's plan, not necessarily your plan. But what I ask is you kind of understand it and then adapt to whatever makes sense. Okay. So let's see if we can do this. I'll kind of stand off here to the side so you can see. We're going to start over here. And what I employ, and some people don't like this at all, but they say it destroys wealth, but it maximizes your comfort level, reduces stress to an ultimate. I highly recommend the buckets. Works great for me in my situation. I'll just say that. But at least know what the buckets are. So I have bucket one money, bucket two money, and bucket three money. Okay. And look up buckets on YouTube, and there's all kinds of great explanations of what buckets are. But basically, my plan is to have 0 to 4 years of expenses in bucket one. Okay. And then in bucket two, 5 to 8 years. And then in my bucket three, 9 years plus of expenses. Okay. So in bucket one, I have that in extremely conservative investments. Very low chance of it, going down, other than by inflation. It does get eaten up by inflation. You can have money in CDs or in just a savings account right there. Bucket two, I got in a lot of dividend funds. Okay, so they're pretty consistent. They pay dividends. They don't go, kind of growth in income, I would say, with a lean pretty hard towards income. And I do have some bond funds in there, Ginnie Mae, for example. Just some, I'm looking for, here I'm looking for 0%. Here I'm looking for 4 to 5%. Okay, so just think through that. And then in bucket three, I have money that I'm not looking to even touch for 9 years. Okay, and that's where I got growth. Okay, that's where I have just almost all growth. I think I got some growth in income in there. I know I do. But leaning hard on growth stocks right there where I can ride the storm out, okay? If that makes sense. So that was my plan. Reality, here I am pushing 3 years into retirement. And, year one, I only spent 80% of what I thought I was going to spend. So I did a detailed budget looking at what my expenses were going to be in retirement. I spent about 80%. The next year I spent 60%. Next year I spent 80%. So I didn't consume this bucket as fast as I thought. Okay. Nowhere close. Also, at the same time, I do part-time consulting. You probably see a few of those YouTube videos salted in where I consult in reliability and maintenance. It's a passion of mine. I do vast majority of that consulting for free, but I do have some paid contracts and I made 15,000 in just about 3 months, my first year, and I made 30,000 my next year, and I made 10,000 this year, for 55,000. COVID, that's that little word. I don't know if you can read that. COVID hit it hard. I had great contracts, and then everything went to zero, about March or April of 2020. So not much happened after that. And really, it's just starting to pick up right now, which I'm just fine with. I'm just fine with. This is all hobby, where I make money and where I think I've got a gift to offer. So this, in combination with I haven't been spending enough, uh, I still have 4 years in bucket one, and I'm almost 3 years into retirement. So, well, there were three things. One, spending was down, income was up, and then I had some surprises. Okay, health insurance. Everybody's number one concern with retirement is health insurance. I planned on $1,800 a month health insurance. I was looking kind of at a worst case. That was my budget when I created this. I'm saving $1,000 a month with my Farm Bureau. Got a separate video on that. Cable, cut the cable. Actually, I'm a little low there. That's probably about $1,300 a year I'm saving on cable because we're just streaming now. That was a whole nother story. A lot of work to get there and to get my wife there. So home repairs and improvements, hey folks, this is something I just complete shock for me is. We used to contract out stuff. The toilet gets clogged up, sink gets clogged up, got drain issues. I paid somebody to handle my sprinkler system. Appliance would break, fixing it. I watch YouTube videos, and I'm doing that stuff myself. Also, I put in a couple new wood floors, those engineered wood floors, put them in myself. When I was working, I would just do that. I would pay somebody to do that because I was working 10 hours a day, almost 6 days a week. I'm starting to do all those things. I enjoy doing them. Sometimes I'm a little frustrated when I'm in the middle of them, but I watch several YouTube videos, do it myself, so I learned something. I learned a skill. I enjoy doing it, and I'm saving money. That's the key. That was a surprise. Also, you hear about this, but I didn't plan on it. It's not one in my expenses. I figured out. Our second car is my Camry. Some of you have seen that in other videos. It's a 2005 Camry. I'm driving 3,000 miles a year on that. Well, think about, I'm saving $1,500 to $2,000 just in repairs and oil changes and gasoline. I'm never driving the thing. Now my wife's car has ticked up just a little bit, but not as much as we thought, especially during COVID times. Gosh, I hate to just keep inundating you with the word COVID, but we stopped spending about $500 a month to just do the COVID. You didn't go out to eat. Didn't go here or there. You just kind of stayed at home. For 18 months. So a few surprises here, and then the COVID came up, and I'm spending less, and I'm making a little bit more than I thought. All this, made my bucket one, and I'm still at 4 years. So, I actually haven't made any moves between these buckets. I've been retired, like 2 years, 9 months, and I have not made a move between the buckets. Now, I cannot move bucket 3 here. That's all in my IRA. This is in a brokerage account, and that's, in my private savings. So I can't get that for another roughly 2 years. I can't get that. So that I can move the investments around, which I don't. I just let it ride. I keep an eye on it, kind of think about it a lot. It's kind of a hobby too, watching these investments, but I haven't moved anything there. But I keep thinking I'm going to be moving some over here, from bucket 2 to bucket 1 as this goes down. Now, what you want to do, this bucket 1, why do you keep 4 years in there? And I used some analogies. It's called keeping your tank topped off, okay? You want to keep about 4 years in here so when the bear market hits, you can ride out a 4-year storm, okay? A 4-year storm of a bear market, you don't sell any of your investments, you just ride this down, okay? This gives you your peace of mind. The average bear market, is like 18 months. The worst ones are around 3 years. So 0 to 4 will get me through 95% of the bears. So what I do is every 6 months, I do a deep dive on my spending. I don't do this monthly. That I don't need that stress in my life. My wife really doesn't want it. So about every 6 months, I look at our spending rate. Okay. You look at any one-time expenses, kind of just how things going, and then I look at how the buckets have been performing. And then I decide if I want to make moves between buckets. So, as an example, I guess one other thing I didn't mention that's been positive, my bucket one, I was targeting to get about 0% interest here. I was projecting to get about 4% here, and I'm projecting to get 8% here. And those are all before inflation numbers, before inflation. Well, let me see if I said that right. So, inflation's in that number. So it's just, 8%. Inflation may reduce that down to 5% in real dollars. So my bucket one actually earned about 3%. This earned 10%. 10.18, actually, 10.2, we'll call it. And this earned about 18%. So it's been a good couple years retirement. So my buckets are doing better. So I haven't made a single move because of this 3% return, because of, and that's per year. I wasn't spending enough. I was working a little bit more, and I had these financial surprises, all positive. Every financial surprise was positive. So, as you're preparing your retirement and you're looking at your buckets or whatever you got, my experience, I was preparing for worse than what really happened. Okay. So again, I just look at this once every 6 months. I'm not looking at this every single month and looking at how the stock market did and throwing things between buckets. Calm down. Calm down. Okay. So the markets move and flow. Don't stress yourself. The market just recently, heck, it went down 3% and everybody's panicking. Oh, this is it. This is it. This is it. And well, now we almost are at all-time highs again, just Friday. So that's really what I do. I haven't made any moves because I overestimated what my spending was going to be. I do expect my spending to go back up a little bit, but not too much. And but my intent is every 6 months, I'm going to say, okay, hey, this is on pace to earn 10%. I'm going to top this off. So I'm down to 3 years. I'm going to top that off. So I want to keep that hot right at 4 years if I can. So whenever the market goes down, I can ride it down. And here's an example of it going down. Say this was down 10% and that was down 18%. Say that happened. I do nothing here. I let this go down to 3 years, down to 2 years, down to 1 year, down to 0 years. Now, once you hit 0 years, you're 4 years into this bear market, you have to tap into this one over here. Can tap into this one if you want, but one of the two you're tapping into for living. But if the market goes down 50%, I got 4 years. I got 4 years before I start worrying about it. Okay. And look at history. Look at history of diversified investing. You got it covered. So hopefully this helps. If it stimulates a lot of questions, keep them coming. I'm keeping up with you. I love the complexity of the questions. Maybe next time I'll be out on the front porch instead of down here giving you a technical analysis. But I thought this may help, that I don't look at things every day, at the end of each week, at the end of the month. I really don't stress that much. Every 6 months, Now I do look at the stock market. I'm just interested in how things are going. And my investment club meets and we start talking about things like Roth conversions, when we're going to take Social Security, things like that, long-term care insurance, but actual moves, 2.5 years in, I haven't made a single one. This is Joe out.